Has come to my attention that there are some people that would love the story about how I blacked out and met my husband, so let's do it. It was a brisk December evening in 2014, and I, your girl, was on the dance team at my college and knew no boys. There was no time to party and meet boys when you dance in the SEC, and when other people are partying and meeting boys, you're on the sidelines. So I had asked some sorority sisters if they knew anyone that I could take to our winter formal. They suggested me a guy that looked good enough, so I texted him, said, hey, I'm friends with so-and-so. Do you want to go with me? He agreed, and boom, done. I don't know these girls super well, so I decide that I'm going to hang out with them like a week before. You're probably asking, weren't they your sorority sisters? Yes, but again, when you dance, you don't get to even spend a ton of time with your sorority sisters. So I kind of knew these girls, but I felt like we needed to hang out a little bit before I went to this formal with them. So one Friday night, a week before the formal, I went over and we had a white night in the dorms. I'm up there having a pretty good time vibing with these girls. They're as loud and as obnoxious as me. Shout out Savannah and Madison if you're seeing this, and Lexi. We're vibing and they're like, hey, one second, our friend from high school has to come up to borrow a calculator. In walks this pretty unassuming dude. He's not there to hang out. He just needs to borrow this calculator, and he walks in. And we had just been talking about the kid that I was going to take to the formal, and I was like, I don't know him, we'll see how it goes, da-da-da-da-da. And as a joke, and because I'm obnoxious, I go, as this kid is walking out with the calculator, I go, I should just take you. He laughs and leaves, and I don't think another thing of it. The next day, I get a text from one of the girls going in my group, and she's like, hey, remember that kid that came in the other night and borrowed the calculator while you were hanging out? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, he wants to know if you're serious about the formal. I was like, sure, but I'm going with that other guy. And she's like, ditch him, invite our friend. He's way better. And I'm like, okay. I text the other guy and I'm like, we're off. Then I get this kid's number from my friend and I text him and I'm like, hey, it's Gracie from the other night in Savannah's dorm. If you're actually down, like, do you want to go? And he's like, hell yeah, I want to go. This is where it gets interesting. Little background, I was like a super goody two-shoes in high school and never drank. So when I get to college, I had absolutely no chill. Specifically being on the dance team, we just didn't have a ton of time to drink or party, so that also was part of it. I was really studious, got straight A's my first year, didn't really go out, and so this formal was kind of my first shebang. The girls get ready, we meet up with the guys, we go to dinner, and then we go back to the dorms to pregame, and that's where things go relatively downhill. Being the goody two-shoes, I told you guys that I was in high school. I didn't have a boyfriend, didn't drink, didn't go to parties. So I'm randomly really nervous about this formal, and any bottle of alcohol in this dorm pregame that we're at is getting drunk by your girl. And I'm mixing every single liquor you can mix because I don't know anything about drinking. I'm talking tequila, I'm talking vodka, I'm talking wine, I'm talking like little wine coolers, I'm talking little spritzes, I'm talking pulls of Fireball, I'm talking like gin cocktail, I'm talking everything that was getting passed around, I'm drinking it. And before you know it, according to everybody the next day, I just start aggressively making out with him at the pregame, which you're thinking, Gracie, it's college, it's no big deal, everybody does that. Nobody was as drunk as me. Nobody. It hadn't gotten to that part of the night yet. We're talking, this is like, you guys, 9 p.m. Mind you, all of these people at this pregame going to this formal are all friends from high school, and I'm the only like new person, and I'm aggressively making out with their friend in front of everybody when it's not that serious or not that deep yet. Like, nobody else is on my level. Leave for the function and get on the bus, or leave for the function to get on the bus. And when we get there, my sorority takes one look at me and is like, absolutely not, she cannot come in. She needs to go home. This is a liability. So this boy who had like dressed up, paid for this dinner, everything, like doesn't even get to go into the function. So he calls a pledge driver, which if you don't know what that is, I don't know if they have these everywhere in Greek life. It is certain boys in a fraternity on certain nights will be like on driving duty and will have to come get whoever, and they like rotate doing this different nights out. So he calls one of his friends in his pledge class to come get us, and I proceed to throw up all over this poor kid's car. Mind you, I'm also throwing up on the boy. Oh, I forgot a part. I had also, trying to get into the pledge driver's car, fell on the railroad tracks in Fayetteville, shout out Dixon Street, and bust my chin open. I am literally not only throwing up, I'm bleeding. Oh, and at some point I ripped my dress. So anyways, we get back to my dorm, which is an all-girls dorm, which is staffed at the bottom, like basically like a front desk. And this poor boy has to go from the car all the way up these steps of this dorm and carry me. And when he gets to the front, the person's like, you can't take her upstairs. Absolutely not, because it gives sketchy vibes. And he's like, I need to get this girl home. She's on the dance team. She has a game tomorrow. Now, this front desk of this dorm was notorious for calling the cops on super drunk girls because we were all underage. And so this boy, who was having the shittiest night of his life with me, begs this front desk person not to call the police on me. Proceeds to beg them to let them take me up the stairs, and the kid at the front desk is like, if you're not down in 5 minutes, I'm calling the cops. So that's what he did. He ran me upstairs, threw up in the door, passed me to my roommate and said, I've got to go. They're gonna call the cops if I'm not downstairs in 5 minutes. I need you to take care of her. I wake up to the maddest, rightfully so, roommate in the world, who proceeds to tell me the details of my evening as she texted the kid later and got the lowdown. And this poor roommate and friend of mine stayed up with me all night to make sure I was breathing. And the consensus from her and my very Southern mother was, that boy is going to sprint from your ass when he sees you on campus. The next day, I had to cheer at a women's basketball game. I have a Band-Aid on my chin. It's very obvious to everybody that I'm extremely hungover. So we go out to perform, and I look up, waving my pom-poms to a very small crowd. Again, this was a women's basketball game in December, and it was like starting to snow. And who do I see sitting alone by himself in the stands? The boy. This boy literally at some point heard me talk about my women's basketball game I had to cheer in the morning the night before. And after I threw up on him, fell and cracked my chin open and bled on him. And he had to carry me up the stairs to my dorm, almost got him in trouble, remembered what time it was at and showed up to see me. I texted him at halftime because I was like, I can't believe you're here. I'm so sorry for last night. And he said, no big deal. Of course I'm here. Do you want to meet at the library tonight and study? It was finals week. Up at the library and did not get even 5 minutes done. The librarian came up to us and told us we had to be quiet, and that wasn't going to happen. He looked at me and said, do you want to go hang out in my dorm? And I said yes. And I've seen this man every single day for the past 11 years. And we now have 2 little girls, a home, careers. We've moved a million times. We've had a bunch of different jobs. We've gone through my cancer scare together, an IUD pregnancy together, the death of my dad together, me dancing in the NBA together, long distance 2 different times. And Yeah. On another post I made about him, someone commented and said, this just goes to prove that if they're the one, you physically cannot give them the ick. And I died, because that's got to be so true. Imagine going through all of that with a random girl you've never met in front of all of your friends and still being into her. So all I have to say is, ladies, this is your sign to black out and meet your husband. Okay, that's all.